Hello, everyone. Today's lecture is going to be kind of a couple videos I'm going to put out titled Gospel Stories. And basically, what they are is misconceptions in stories and quite famous stories that were told that are pretty far away from the truth of what they are actually for. In this case, we have Matthew 24:39. There are groups of people that say that this is a future event, not a past. And really, what it is it's a sleight of hand trick that they're doing. They've manipulated things in order to convince you of a still yet coming future of the Son of Man, of Christ. But what it says in actuality is what is it saying is something that happened 2,000 years ago. And it's all connected to the rest of the chapter of 24 in Matthew. So I want to start off by saying this is what it is. Okay? When we go to Matthew 24 and we look at it, what they're saying is at some certain point, whether it be 35 or 36, whatever it may be, where they say it starts, they're saying this is still future. Okay? But what this is Jesus saying all of these horrible things that are about ready to happen that they're asking about. And he's summarizing it at the end. Okay? He doesn't know when it's going to happen. Okay? God knows. But don't worry. Because like Noah, during the flood, when everyone was destroyed, he was saved by the ark. Okay? And you too will be saved. Just like Noah was spared. Just like Lot, as Luke explains it, was spared, his family. Okay? Everyone who is a believer will be saved from this horror that is about to come upon Jerusalem. And it turns out this was about 40 years after this was said. So Jesus hadn't died yet. This is one of his last stories that he was telling, but he was reassuring them that it's going to be okay, but you have to stay alert. That's what this is all about. Jesus is saying, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but like these trees, where is it? Up here. The trees, when they start to take bloom, you know that summer is near. Okay, it's the same thing. When you start to see these signs, what signs? All these signs. When you see all this stuff starting to happen and build up, you see the abomination of desolation, which turns out to be the Roman army in Luke. And we'll get into that. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview to tell you what's going to be said, what is being said. And basically, I have to unscrew your mind because people have been told that it's a certain way. But what I'm going to demonstrate, I'll do it slowly because it does take a second, because you've already been told one way, so it seems a little odd, but it will make sense once we put it up against Luke, because he's the only one that talks about this. This is not contained in Mark. He alludes to the same things, but this whole Noah and the flood is not there. Okay, but this is the part of what he's saying is you need to be alert. Okay, you need to look out for the abomination of desolation that's going to take place. But don't worry, guys and gals, you're going to be fine. Just like Noah was fine, just like Lot was fine. So you too will be fine. It will be okay because you're going to get out. But you got to pay attention. Okay, you got to look for the signs. So let's get into it. I wanted to start with a little bit of we have to cover a little bit of the backstory. Now, in Genesis 7:17, I want you to pay attention to what it's saying. Then the flood came upon the earth for 40 days, and the water increased and lifted up the ark, so it rose above the earth. The water prevailed and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. Pay attention to this. This is all about the ark and the water lifting up the ark, okay? Read this as many times as you need to. 17 through 21 of Genesis 7, okay? The water prevailed more and more upon the earth, so that all the high mountains everywhere under the heavens were covered. The water prevailed 15 cubits higher, and the mountains were covered. All flesh that moved. So let's recap real quick. They're just talking about when it started, okay? The flood came upon the days. The water increased. Now what's missing here? There's this kind of outlook on this event that seems like a tsunami came, okay? It didn't. It's more like a tub. And you put the stopper in, turn the water on, and it started to fill up. If you look at any flood videos, okay, anywhere, you got a foot or two of water coming in on land. It's very destructive. Okay, you can look at Japan that had a tsunami, the tsunami that took place in Southeast Asia. Okay, just a little bit of water can do a lot of damage. Now you think about this ark. What's it made out of? Wood. Maybe gopher wood, maybe very strong, but still, how flexible can it be when it gets smashed up against a bunch of trees or a bunch of rocks? Okay, I don't know if the ark was compartmentalized like our modern ships are, where you can just close off watertight a certain section that had damage. That's what sank the Titanic. They had that, but they just went over the walls and went into a different compartment. If there was a strong tsunami or any kind of gushing water coming in, it would rip the ark into pieces. It would tear it apart. All you got to do is watch a couple videos of floods and flood damage, see what kind of damage can be done in this situation. That's not what is happening here. It's just being lifted up, just like a tub. Okay, you'll see it. Now, we're going to move from that focus on to humans. All flesh that moved on the earth perished. Okay? Birds and cattle and beasts and every swarming thing that swarms upon the earth. And all mankind. Not a lot of emphasis on the people, is there? I mean, there's more emphasis on the animals. They talk about it more. But what did they say about the people and flesh? They just perished. All flesh that moved on the earth perished. That's it. That's all the information we get. Okay? Keep that in mind. It's very important. And it's very important in the way, in the emphasis of the ark. And we're talking about Matthew again. He's a very, what we refer to as a throwback person. Even the words he uses are the same. Okay, the same Greek words as they have in the Septuagint, which is the Old Testament in Greek. So we'll move to Matthew 24. And this is the part where they say it's still future. Okay? The day of the hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. For the coming of the Son of Man will just be like the days of Noah. Okay? For as in those days before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them all away. Now let's stop here. What this is saying is Jesus doesn't know when it's going to happen, but God does. But he knows it will just be like the days of Noah. What happened? Everything was just hunky-dory until the day that Noah entered the ark. That's the focus, the ark. Remember Genesis? We were just finished. The ark is the emphasis. Okay? And they did not understand. Now, who didn't understand? If we read more in Genesis, obviously Noah and his family and the people knew that that ark was being built, but Noah obviously had more information as to why it was being built. Okay? And what was about ready to happen. So they did not understand. It's obviously the people when it started to happen. Now, again, the world started filling up like a bathtub. So first you got a flood. Oh, look, a flood. Then it got a little worse. Wow, this is a bad flood. Then it got a little worse. Wow, this is a really bad flood. Then people start to get worried at some point. It gets real bad. Next thing you know, they're on their house. Wow, this is bad. Okay? Keeps going. It doesn't stop. Okay? I mean, at some point around now, people are starting to drown. Okay? They're on their roofs. They can't. I don't know if they could swim. Then maybe they swim over to a tree. Then they get on a tree. Then what can they swim to next? Okay? It's not all at once. It's not a big tsunami. It's not a wave that just comes in and wipes them clean. It happens slowly over time. Could have taken days. But the ark, all at once, the animals and the people in it, it's just one unit, okay? It's one item. So it's easy to track the fact that they're all being taken up at once. Whereas all these people, it could have taken them days to succumb to the water, depending on where they're at and what they were able to get to, okay? They did not understand the people. They also probably looked at the ark and said, oh, now I get it. Now I understand what's happening at some point. Until the flood came and took them all away. Now, in Greek, this away isn't really here. You can get away with using it. They do it in other places. But really what it's saying is the flood came and took them all. This took them all is actually lifted. Okay? In Greek, in the Old Testament, we were looking at it before. This word right here, ep-arin, okay? It's the same here, arin. Kai-uk, I can't do that one. Ethrin ho cataclysmos, kai, arin, hapantas, hoitos, este kai he. You could look at this right here, but you can see, and they knew not until the flood came and took away all. Okay, but if you look over here, it's lift up or rear up. If you look at the Greek, the actual word, which is here, arin, he, she, it, lift, pick up. So like Jesus, you can see they asked to take his body, arin, took away his body. That's how they used it in that way. But we have other examples, like in John. Here, arin, Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, okay? So it can be used in a couple different ways. But what's important to remember is the emphasis here is not the people, okay? They're barely spoken of in the story. Now, unless Matthew is insinuating that Jesus is adding information not previously known. That's what you would have to say. Jesus was, in order to make it work in that way, you'd have to say that that Matthew is saying Jesus added information that was not previously known to anyone. That does not happen in the New Testament. This would actually be, I believe it would be a first. I'm still trying to figure out if there are instances of it, but still, after 3 years, I haven't found any. Okay? So, they were all fine until Noah entered the ark. They didn't understand what was going on, the people, until the flood came in, lifted them all. There's no away here, but it was just lifted them all. If you want to put away, fine, whatever. Doesn't matter, because the emphasis is on the ark. That's what was taken up, lifted, okay, by the water. Okay? It's not about some big judgment event that's going to happen. Yeah, people are going to die, but the emphasis here that Jesus is conveying, look, all these horrible things are going to happen, but you're going to be okay. It's reassurance. Okay? Because when you tell a big story like that, don't you think you would mention, oh yeah, by the way, you guys are going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Because what I'm telling you and the signs that you need to look for, that's your ark. Your knowledge and your feet are your ark. Just like Lot in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. You need to get out of the city. They left the city on foot, and the city was destroyed. Okay? Here, for whatever reason, probably because Jesus was there at the time, and this took about 40 years to happen, but Jesus said, hey, look out for it. Be on the lookout for these signs, because when they happen, you need to run. You need to get out of the city. Okay? So as we move on, it's the ark that they're referring to, not the people. The people are barely mentioned in the story, okay, of Genesis. It's the ark. Now we move on to this recap that you see at the end. And that's what it is, because this recap we'll get into actually happens before this event took place. But this is a reassuring recap of what Jesus is doing. So will the coming of the Son of Man be? Then there will be two in the field. One will be received. Now, a lot of people are used to hearing it from taken. I didn't correct this part either. It should be lift, but I didn't. Forgot. One will be received, paralambatanai, which is present tense. Okay. Matthew uses present tense. Luke uses future tense. The ones I will accept. Okay. Received. That's what he's saying here. There will be two in the field. He's giving an overview. He's like, look, just like the days of Lot, just like Noah, okay, there'll be two in the field. One will be saved, one will be destroyed. Okay? This is not taken. This is received. This is my writing, this is not the Bible. The ones I will accept. That's the way you need to think about it. There'll be two in the field. One will be accepted. Okay? If you come to me, you will be received. So it's more of a receiving. Jesus will take you. I will receive you. Okay? And one will be left. Now think about this. This is happening in Jerusalem. The armies are going to come and encircle Jerusalem. When they see it, they need to run. So, if they leave the city and are received, the other 50%, the other people they were talking about, will be left. Well, where do you think they're going to be left? Back in the city. What do you think is going to happen to them? They're going to be destroyed. Most of them. Gives another one. Two women will be grinding at the mill. One will be received, and the other will be left. Apatai. That's more aphemi, but it's present tense. My pronunciation isn't that great, and I don't even think it's an emphasis because in most cases we don't really know. I'm really good at Luke because in Luke it's future tense and it's aphiemi. This is aphatai, okay, which means cast off, or when Jesus says her sins, which are many, are cast off. Okay, it can be used in a wider range of words, but most of them are not positive. We can look at parlambantai, okay? And they use it as taken, 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 taken. And then when you get down to it, to receive near. Associate with one itself. Blah, 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 blah. Receive, take, okay? You have to understand, these versions that you're reading, they're playing with your head. That's what they're doing. They want you to see it the way they see it. And they can't get you the way they want to see it if they use language and words like this. So they need to twist it. They need to twist these words around in order to kind of, in English in modern times, make what they're saying seem plausible. And make what I'm saying implausible. To take is taken. They don't say anything about it, right? Nothing. But boom, there it is, received. You could go here to the lexicon and it talks about it. If you put the word in here, it talks about it at length. Okay? You can look at the way Jesus is talking in John 14, where he's talking about receiving them. I will come and receive you. Okay? Same thing with alphatai. I can't do the present tense. Sorry. We'll go into this. Is left. To release is left. Is left. We're talking about the sins. Her sins are released. Her sins are forgiven. Cast off. Cut off. It's not always positive. An intensive form of... So it has a lema, which is to leave. Okay. This is alphiemi. That's the lema, I think. Tense and form, to go, to send forth, various applications. There really is. Cry, forgive, forsake. I mean, it could be good and it could be bad. Left alone. Omit, put, away, suffer. And then here we have the LXX. Of divorce, to send forth, to send away, let go. To remit, to forgive. So it has all kinds of different connotations. But here, in this context, the received is the positive. The left is the negative. Left in the city. Okay? Now, we go from here, let's jump over to Luke. Because in Luke, he has the same thing. Just as it happened in the days of Noah, so will also be in the days of the Son of Man. They were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, and they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And the flood came and destroyed them all. So Luke tells it a little different way. He's saying, look, the people are destroyed. And that's where I think a lot of this comes from. They look in Luke and said, oh, destroyed, okay. This is destroyed. And so on and so forth, and it changes. It's been 2,000 years. A lot of nonsense can happen in 2,000 years. I mean, look at our country. I think we're barely 300 years in the USA. Look at all the nonsense that's going on here. So you can tell it Doesn't take a lot of time for human beings to screw things up pretty good. But he's saying is destroyed. Even in the next one, it was in the same thing that happened in the days of Lot. They were eating, they were drinking, they were buying, they were selling, and they were planting, and they were building. I gotta say, the people in Sodom and Gomorrah were a lot more productive than the people of the day of Lot. Definitely doing a lot more stuff. But on that day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Now, this is in a separate chapter. It's not kind of smushed together like Matthew does. This is in 17. Okay? And then the other part of it is in Luke 21 of the same book, both Luke, right? Now, it will be just the same on the day, okay? Now they're asking, what is the sign? This is not the sign, but this is the day that the Son of Man is revealed. Okay? So this is the same day that the sign comes. The day that the Son of Man reveals. Think about that, okay? On that day, the one who's on his housetop and whose goods are in the house must not go down and take them out. And likewise, the one who is in the field must not turn back. Now, a lot of people argue this is something completely different, and I put, Jesus could have told the story 100 times. Why not? How many times, he certainly told them to be vigilant continuously throughout the New Testament. Do you think he only said thing once and that was it? Or do you think he said it more than once? He's trying to reassure these people. He's going around to these Jews and he's like, all this is going to be destroyed. I mean, look at Matthew 23. All this is going to be destroyed. You're going to be destroyed. It's going to be horrible. All this destruction. Doom and gloom. And they try to bring it into our present time, but it's over. It happened 2,000 years ago. And what Jesus was doing when he was telling these stories originally was like, look, all this bad stuff happened, but the believers, the good people, just like you, will be saved. Okay? It's going to be okay. I'm telling you what you need to know. I'm giving you all the signs. I'm giving you these events, okay, ad nauseum. And I'm telling you to be vigilant. When you see the trees bloom, you can see these signs. You can see. So when you see the signs that I'm referring to, the abomination of desolation, okay, what do they call it? The tribulation, okay, volcanoes erupting, wars and rumors. I mean, we have that now in our lifetime. We have wars going on, all kinds of stuff, but it's not the end. But it's building and it's building and it's building, and it's going to culminate in the Roman army absolutely destroying Jerusalem. But you're going to get out. You will be saved. You will be received. I will receive. You come to me, I will receive you. Okay? The rest, they're going to be destroyed. Where they are, the vultures will be. Okay? There's two groups here. The screwed and you. But when you look at it, in chapter 21, a lot of these, if you'll notice, and it is kind of confusing, but if you take them and you separate them, get like 3 or 4 Bibles is what I do, and just open the pages. And we're not even talking about Mark yet. Because Mark does not have the story, but he has information in it. But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then recognize that our desolation is near. Okay? If you look here, on that day, when you see the Son of Man is revealed, what's the day of the Son of Man? The abomination of desolation. Where's Matthew? Abomination of desolation. Okay? What's the abomination of desolation? The Roman army. This is a historical fact. We know this. Take note that a lot of people still think that, from Daniel, right? Through Daniel, the prophet, standing in the holy place. This is the same thing. It's just explained differently through different people. This is his opinion of it, and this is his opinion of it based on reality. Because more than likely, since he says armies, this is an event that actually took place already. And it's funny because Luke writes in a future tense and Matthew writes in a present tense. But this is how we can be deceived in our reading and understanding. He's saying abomination and desolation, but it turns out to be the Roman armies. See how big of a difference that could be in opinion? But it's the same thing. I mean, you line these stories up, they're not talking about two different things. They're talking about the same stuff. Okay? Don't be fooled. Those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains when they see this. Okay? When they see the Roman armies, then recognize that her desolation is near. Must flee to the mountains. Those who are in the midst of the city must leave, and all those of the country must not enter the city. Because these are days of vengeance. So that all things which are written must be fulfilled. Okay? Everything. Not just a part of it, not just everything we've talked about so far, and pretend like something else is happening after. All. Okay? Now let's move back to Matthew. This is before. Okay, Matthew 24:15. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken through the general of the prophet saying in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then those who are in Judah must flee to the mountains. Whoever is on the housetop must not go down to get his things get his things out that are in his house. Whoever is in the field must not turn back and get his cloak. Okay, they're all talking about the same thing here. This person who's out in the field, I mean, come on, it's pretty on the nose of what's happening here. Okay, and it relates to this. It relates back to Luke 17. On that day, the housetop goods must not go down and take them out. Likewise, whoever's in the field must not turn back. Okay, Luke 17:26, Matthew 24:15. Whoever's on the housetop must not go down. Whoever's in the field must not turn back to get his cloak. All right? When what? The abomination of desolation. The armies surrounding Jerusalem. When you see that, run. Flee to the mountains. Okay? This is a historical story that happened 2,000 years ago, and it was intended for the people that he was talking to and the people that would be around to see this event. That's why they say this generation, over and over again. Now we get back into where we were before. Here's verse 36, but so you can see, again, it serves as a positive reassuring ending for the believers. Okay? Because you have to understand, when this happens and takes place, people saying this is still future. But this, Matthew 32, happens before this. Matthew 24:29. Okay? Put it right here. But immediately after the tribulation, okay? Immediately after the tribulation, there's no breaks, there's no nothing. Of those days will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of heavens will be shaken. Okay? And then the sign. This is what they were asking about in Matthew, and everywhere, really. The sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. Okay? Now remember earlier in Luke it said, the day of the Son of Man? So these are all at the same time. But Luke is saying it's on a day. But on the same day, Matthew is saying the sign will appear in the sky. And all the tribes will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds. This time he's on the clouds. You also notice this, sometimes he's coming in the clouds, or on top of the clouds, or with the clouds. But here in Matthew he's saying on the clouds. With power and great glory. That's God. And he will send his angels forth with great trumpet, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to another. Okay? Now, when we take this, what they say is past, this event, you can't do that because this is connected to this, Matthew 15. But all he's doing here is he's wrapping it up. He's wrapping it up and saying, look, you guys are going to get out of this. Just stay on the alert and you'll be fine. You'll beat this, just like Noah, just like Lot. You'll be okay. Okay? For the people he was talking to, the four disciples. That was Andrew, Peter, James, and John. Okay? 4 people, as said in Mark 13, after the poor widow story. Now, when we get to this part, after this part, if we switch back over to Luke 21, he's saying the same thing. Behold, then he told him a parable, behold the fig tree and all the trees. As soon as they put forth leaves, you will see it, and know for yourselves that summer is now near. So you also, when you see these things happening, recognize that the kingdom of God is near. Okay? So this 2,000 years ago, before the temple was destroyed and Jerusalem was sacked, the kingdom of God was near. Now again, especially in Luke, truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. You'll also notice that he's saying you people, not those people. And people really try to twist that. I don't know why they do that. But they get away with it because they kind of numb your brain and just keep jamming that stuff in there. But it's you. Okay? And a lot of people say, oh, well, they're saying you in future tense. Well, of course. 40 years prior to the event is future tense. Okay? If you went to Easter at your family's house and you're planning it out, that's future tense, but Easter's over now. So it's not future tense anymore. Even though the text you're writing to them about when you're going to be there and et cetera, and bring this, it was all written with the emphasis that it hadn't happened yet. It was going to happen. But it's over now. But just because you wrote it in future tense doesn't mean it's that way forever. And it's the same thing here. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. Again, be on your guard, so that your hearts will not be weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the worries of life, and then that day will not come on you suddenly like a trap. Now, what do all these people say? Oh, when Jesus comes back, it's going to happen, like the rapture crowd. Oh, it's going to happen. It's just, Trump's going to blow, and it's just going to happen in a snap. Well, here he's saying it's not going to happen suddenly, is it? Because he's not talking about that. That event, that it's future, is made up. It's a complete fabrication of the story, and a real bad one at that. Because all you got to do is look at Luke and Mark, and you put them together, and none of this stuff works the way they say it works. It's really easy to manipulate Mark or Matthew because he kind of sensationalizes it. He sounds like he's one of those people who's got a big heart, kind of like a dreamer. Okay, he likes to really lay it on thick. Luke is very, 2 + 2 is 4, and that's it. He's probably like a wet blanket. Okay, one of those people, as far as personality is concerned. I'm sure Matt would be able to be a great storyteller around the fire. Not so much Luke. Luke would be more like an academic lecture. Okay, but he's telling us, look, it won't come on you suddenly like a trap. For it will come upon all those who dwell on the face of the earth. Now, this earth right here is actually land. Okay? The face of the land. It's not earth. They could be saying earth like dirt. But earth, the way we consider it, the world, would be cosmos. This is not cosmos. This is gay. On the face of the land. Okay? This is not a worldwide event, this destruction. It's all confined to around Jerusalem. Okay? Again, keep on the alert at all times, praying that you have the strength to escape all these things that are about to take place and to stand before the Son of Man. Now, that sounds pretty literal to me. They're going to be standing before the Son of Man. Does that sound like it's going to be 2,000 years from when he said this? You have to understand, Matthew 24 is talking about and reassuring them that they will be saved. Okay? One will be received, one will be left. In Luke, they'll say, "Where, Lord?" Well, where the bodies are, there the vultures will be, right? And he says that up here too. Right there, wherever the corpse is, the vultures will gather. So they are mixed up. But if you put them together, you can match them up. And they're not talking about different things. This is a one-use thing. The same exact scenario isn't going to happen in the future because they never indicated that it was. All those people are dead. Peter's dead. Okay? John, dead. They're all dead. It's not going to happen. And it had to have happened in their generation. It had to. Those 4 that he was talking to, the last breath of the last person living on earth. Once that person takes their last breath and dies, that's it. That's the time frame. That's as far as you can go. So unless John is still living somewhere, it just doesn't work. You cannot get it out of the timeline that Jesus put down and the sequence of events that happen. You can't just take stuff out of it and put it back somewhere else. The people that say this are just really stupid, okay? Stupid because they think they can get away with it. And I know they know better. That's the problem. They know better and they still continue. They still continue to tell you this story. Why? Because that's who they are. You going to give up your entire life to do the right thing? Let's say you got a good job? No. You're not going to quit everything and go work at Burger King and restart your life. And they're not going to either. But they're also not going to be honest with you, which is bad. But this is how the story originally was told. This is what it meant. Okay? Even in Matthew, when you go down, be alert. And really pay attention to this night. Because over in Luke, he talks about 2 women will be sleeping, or two will be in bed. On that night, 2 will be in bed. So he talks about the day and night. Okay? Luke talks about that. It's really interesting. I might go over to it. But be on alert, be on alert, be on alert. Okay? And then what comes after that? Again, be on the alert, be on the alert. And then we have the separation and the judgment. Okay? You see that? See the sequence of this? The sequence of events that it happens in? Birth pains, abomination of desolation. Okay? After the tribulation, immediately after the tribulation. See how this keeps going? Sign of the Son of Man. Right there. The sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. Okay? So that's basically it. When this happens, it's over. Jesus says, pay attention. Remember the fig tree? When you see it change, you know that he's right at the door. This generation will not pass away. I just don't know when it's going to happen, though. Okay? Only God knows that, the Father alone. But it will just be like the days of Noah. One will be received, they'll be okay. The other will be left behind. So don't worry about it. Now, if you want, we can go to Revelation and I'll give you something else. In verse 12 of Revelation 3, he who overcomes will make it a pillar in my temple. Now, obviously, there's no temple in heaven, so he's making an analogy here. I will write on his name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem. This is actually not correct. They've changed it. Remember, the Revelation says don't add or take away anything? Well, they certainly did here, because the original Greek says the New Jerusalem, the one coming down out of heaven from my Father, from my God and my new name. Out of heaven from my God. The New Jerusalem, the one present tense, even this which is present tense, but they've changed it to kind of, again, to manipulate it, to make it seem like something else. But really what it's saying is the New Jerusalem, the one currently descending out of heaven, katabino. Okay? So if this is happening at this time in the Philadelphia church, okay, and you look at this, and you look at the sequence here, we have the sequence of 70 AD, we have the destruction, so we have surrounded by armies, right? And then we have the sign of the Son of Man. Oh, sorry, that's not it. The Son of Man coming on the clouds. That's that part. It's not the Son of Man, somewhere else. That's in 17. So when you all see these things happening, recognize the kingdom of God is near. Okay? So data-wise, this New Jerusalem is the kingdom of God. Okay? If you look at Revelation 21, here, the New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem. Here, it says Jerusalem. Now, if you look at this, it says the New Jerusalem. That's not what it says. It says Jerusalem. Dummies. Right? I mean, how bad can it get? But they'll do it. And a lot of them don't even know that they're doing it. Even if you tell them that they're doing it wrong, they ain't going to listen. So don't let them. These videos are intended for people that actually care what's being said. They don't want the Pope's opinion. They don't want, John MacArthur's. They just want to know what it says. And that's what I'm telling you. Look at it. Look at it yourself. Look at the Greek. I've researched it all. Because they all have something to do with each other. The New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven from God. Okay? You see that? When did this happen? After the judgment. After heaven and earth passed away. You can take Daniel, you can take Revelation, and you can line it up with these Gospels. You can line them up, and you can see the sequence. Now, it's unfortunate that's not a word-for-word name. It would be great. So I have to put a little asterisk that maybe this isn't what they're talking about. And maybe it's not. But it sure is coincidental that the kingdom of God is also coming down at the same time as New Jerusalem. This New Jerusalem, this 1 through 8 of Revelation 21, is what exists on earth. It's the new heavens and new earth. That's what this is. It's invisible. Luke 17:21. The kingdom of God is inside of you. You will not see it coming, is what Jesus says to the Pharisee. You won't say, hey, look over here, look over there. The kingdom of God is inside of you. Okay? You won't see it. And it's also on an individual basis on top of it. So you really ain't going to see it. That's why you can't judge people. Someone could have the kingdom of God inside of them. You wouldn't know because you can't see it. There's no halo on their head. But you see the coincidences of these passages when you start to put them together. Kingdom of God, New Jerusalem. Okay, look at this. There's no outline of what's going on here. It's just an announcement. It is done. Behold, I am making all things new. It is done. Okay, then he gets into something completely different. This is the kingdom of God on heaven. This is the kingdom of God on earth as it exists for over 2,000 years. This is where you go when you die. Jerusalem. That's when you get to be with God. Okay? There's no tabernacle in a big temple, or it's not even a temple. How do I say that right? It's got marble and clear gold. See, there's no temple in it. Okay? It's heaven. It's where you go when you die to be with God. And they're just names that they're using to say how great it is. But there's no outline of what it is. There's just a promise. You see this? That's what happens when you thirst. Okay? This is what it is right here. That's the kingdom. That's the kingdom of God. That's the New Jerusalem. They're one and the same. And trust me, you ask someone that knows better about this, and they'll do a 180. They'll probably jump out of the window if they know what's going on. I've talked to a few people that don't know what they're going on, and a few people that do. And the people that do, shudder away. Light being shown on the darkness. Really. They run away from this verse. Because even when it's corrected, which you're not supposed to do, it still shows that the New Jerusalem came down at this time. Now, a lot of people will say, well, it came down in 96 AD. Okay. Still here. Whether it happened at around 70 or 96, kind of irrelevant to us today. Because it's here. Right there. The New Jerusalem. The one present tense that is coming down out of heaven from my God. Revelation 21. The New Jerusalem coming down from heaven from God. Okay? You think about that. You compare them. See what you think. This is not preterism, folks. I'm not a preterist. I'm a disciple of Christ. If this says Jesus was a purple brontosaurus that wore a sombrero and 2 6-shooters, I'm going to believe it. If that's what it really says. I don't care what it says. But I'm here to follow God. I'm here to do what he says. This is his. Everything is his. The air you're breathing right now is his. Everything is his. Your kids are his. Your car is his. But you get to use it. This is not future. Okay? This happens before this, 29. Okay? All he's doing is just bringing it down here. If you look at Luke, he does the same thing between the 2 chapters. He reiterates it. Okay? He carries it over. Look at it. He carries it over. It's a reiteration from here, and then he's reiterating some more information. And that's what Luke does too. It's not hard to figure out once you put them together. They're being saved from the horror. Okay? You cannot move these events out of the timeline Jesus foretold of. Matthew and Luke are connected. Okay? It's a sleight of hand trick. It is. They're lying to you. And a real bad one at that. Okay. But why? Why would someone do this? Well, because to hold up their theological and religious views. Earlier I said, would you quit your job to go do the right thing and just start all over and go work at Burger King or something? Well, guess what? The Catholic Church ain't going to do it. You know how powerful they are? They're not just going to give it all away to do the right thing. Because they're not here for God. They're here for themselves. If you really believe you're here for God, then this stuff will help you. I had to figure this out on my own, which was great. That's why God decided to retire me, so I could study this stuff to tell you. This is not for religious people. This is for people that want to know what it says. And I'm leading you to it. It's all here. I have many other videos as well. All the information's there. It'll lead you right to it. You can look at it yourself. Take everything you know, put it on a shelf somewhere, turn your back to it, and look at it. Just look at it. And you need to think about who you're here for. Are you here for God, or are you here for yourself? Think about how people pick their churches. They don't go to a church that they don't like. Well, I hate this church, but they're correct. So I guess this is it. Right? That's your family. Well, this is my family. I got to put up with them. Not with church. Church is like, this church sucks. I'm going somewhere else. What's their message? I'll work. It's all the same stuff. I don't care. And you wonder why your life is so horrible. And you have to pretend. You only go to church to get high on Jesus. It's like a drug. Why do you think so many people that quit drugs and alcohol turn to religion? Because they get an emotional response from it. This is not an emotional response that I'm giving you. Nor did anyone else do it. They do it to screw with your head. These people aren't screwing with your head. They're telling you the truth. And I'm bringing it to you today in present day American. So you can understand what's being done. Then you can make the decision for yourself. What do you think God thinks of people who put themselves and their views above what was recorded of Christ saying? And by changing what he said, in turn making Christ a failure at what he said? And what God told him would happen. That wasn't written out well, but basically what I'm saying is, who do you think you are and your friends to change these words? A lot of people don't know. But guess what? Now I'm telling you. If you're listening to this, you got a big problem. Now you have to make a choice. If you choose to ignore it and just keep going, you'll suffer for it. Just like you're suffering now. You go to that church, you see everyone else are so happy. You pretend to be happy, but you're not. And guess what? Neither are they. Well, you think they're doing all the stuff they're doing? All the crimes against children? Okay? Sexually assaulting them, beating them, having sex with other men, having sex with their secretary, all kinds of nonsense is going on. Orgies, okay? Brimstone, fire, whipping themselves because the flesh is weak, all this nonsense that goes on. You know why you have to do all that? Because you're not being honest. And if you're not honest, God isn't going to be honest with you. He doesn't want anything to do with you. Remember remember me, Lord? Get away from me. I never knew you. He must say that a lot. I doubt he does now because it's all automatic. Just like what I'm telling you right now. You're being judged right now by your response to what I'm saying. If you choose to continue to do things the way you're doing them, you will suffer. Just like you are now. Or you can just say, God, Whatever it is, I'm going to do it. I don't care about anyone else anymore. Because I don't care. I care about you. And if everyone hates me because of it, then that's the way it will be. Because I'm here to serve you, not them. Or myself. That's what it takes. And then everything will just go away. You'll still be attracted to women. You'll still look at them in their bikinis and all that, but it just won't be there anymore. You just don't care. This usually comes with age and maturity, but trust me, it's still there. But you're relieved from it because he relieves you from it. You can't do it yourself. You can try, but it's like a diet. If you give yourself a real hardcore diet, trust me, you're going to snap. You're going to be down at the pizza parlor shoving that and half a key lime pie down your throat. It's got to come out somewhere. It has to. Unless it's taken from you. And you cannot do that. And it will not be taken from you if you're pretending. And you're closing your eyes and saying, oh, that's not the way it is. Because it just doesn't work that way. If you can't be honest with him, then what good are you to him? That's not what he's looking for. He's just looking for people that will do what he says. Now, I understand a lot of people are being lied to. I'm telling you the truth. I demand that you look at it for yourself. That you make the choice to relent to God and go to him in prayer and say, look, I'll do whatever you tell me to. Which is probably why you're here in the first place. Because you did that. I'm not your guru. But if you pulled out in front of me and said, excuse me, where's this at? And just say, it's right there. Keep going. I'm not going to get in your way. I'm not going to say, oh, come on in my house and hear my message. I'm not going to get in your way. I don't want to be in your way. And not to be rude, but I really don't want anything to do with you or anyone else. I'll be your friend and your brother, but I don't want to get in between you and God. You need to be so close to God that you're touching him. And I don't want to interfere, but everyone else does. Everyone else wants to get right in there. They want to be your mediator. Don't let them. More likely you already have, and that's why your life is garbage. That's why you feel the way you feel. You pretend, okay? You get high, then you come down. Then you get high again. Then you come down, okay? Can't step away from it. I hear it all the time when I talk to Christians. I'm not beating up on them, but just the way they talk. They can't not read the Bible for 2 seconds because they will themselves. Just let it happen naturally by doing what he wants. Everything will be fine. Everything's fine now. You made it. You're a disciple of Christ, okay? Now you just have to do what he tells you to. And it's difficult. But if you pray to God, he will let you in. But that's the only way. You have to face him. Going to church is no supplement. Going to church is fine. You can go to the concerts. You can do all the stuff they say you aren't supposed to do. Dance and chew gum. Women can wear pants if they want to. Doesn't matter. Because the work's already done. The commitment's already been made. Everything else is just enjoyment. But most people try to go to church to get emotionalized. And it's death. It's absolute death. And when they say things like this, you won't even notice it. I know people who are doctors and writers. I've talked to, met at length. They can't even see it. Oh no, Jesus hasn't come yet. That's ridiculous. How could you not know that? How could you not read this? Because they're reading some version that uses other words to express what's happening here. They're not going back to Genesis. They're not looking at it. And they definitely don't want to hear it, especially from someone like me. Me in particular. I don't care how you put it. They don't want to hear it. I don't give them a good, warm, fuzzy feeling inside. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's it. See how simple that is? And that's what this is. 2 plus 2 is 4. Or better yet, 2 plus 2 equals 5. And you just need to trust Christ about the one in the middle. He says it's 5, then it's 5. It doesn't make sense here on earth. Oh well, that's not your problem. Your only goal should be to have faith. That's all you got to do is just have faith. Oh, COVID's back. Better wear a mask. No, it's fine. You could die. Oh, well. You know, we could give it to millions of other people and kill them all, and then we'll throw you in jail. Well, go right ahead. I'm living for God. If I wear a mask, then I'll wear a mask. But that's not the point. The point is I'm here to serve God. And I don't care about anything else. And I'm not falling for your stupid traps. That's the type of mindset you have to have. Remember Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade? Where he's going through that, looking for the chalice, and there's that big gap. He just closed his eyes and stepped out, and he landed on a bridge. When you walk out there, you got your hands in your pocket, and you're whistling a tune, and you just keep going. If you were Peter, and Peter started sinking down, and he says, hey, you, whatever your name is, you do it. Okay, you just come on out and jump on out and walk right towards, hey, Jesus, how's it going? Kind of windy out here, huh? Peter's over there sloshing around in the water. You're not. You don't even think about it. All you think about is Christ and what he said. Because what he said comes straight from God. And that's all you have to do. That's it. It takes a second. It's like quit smoking. I quit. You're done. But then what do you do with the rest of your life? That's the problem. That's the hard part. But when you make the decision, you're in. When you have a relationship and you pray, you're in. And you'll know you're in. Because you'll ask questions and you'll get answers. You look at these views of these videos that I'm making, I don't get a lot of them. Because people don't care, they're not interested. It's not fancy. It's not exciting. There's no dragons and sea monsters and antichrists. That's not fun. It's not about having fun. It's about being relieved from the nonsense that is your life, that this world encapsulates you in. It's salvation. It's Peter falling through and being pulled up out of the water and placed back on top of the water. That's now solid. He doesn't do that. The power of God does that. Our Father gives that to us. But if people can't see it, they're just going to fall right through that water. It's not us, it's him. But if we have faith, then we can walk on water. And all the troubles of the world go away. And the ones that remain, who cares? They won't kill you. God knows about it. And he'll protect you mostly from yourself, because you're the biggest problem. We are our biggest problem. So, but he'll protect us. Hebrews 10, what is that? 10:30, 10:15. He won't test us any more than we can handle. So don't worry about it. Everything's done. Everything will be taken care of. All you have to do is have faith and do a little studying. If you compare these books, take, I don't know, 30 minutes. You can do it as a family or friends. You'll see it. You'll see the truth, no matter what version you get.